Hi. So, um, this is a video I've wanted to do for quite a few days, but just not got around to, um, because it's about manifestation, and there's a lot of things around on YouTube and all over the place, really, um, about manifestation and what it is and how to do it and different techniques. So, um, I'm not saying I'm an expert by any means, but I just wanted to say a few things about my kind of view on it and how I do really think there's something in it, because my first kind of experience of it was when I was very young and I had no idea what was going on. But I remember thinking, wow, like that kind of felt like magic. And then kind of just, never really thought about it again for a long time until I heard about this manifestation. So, yeah, when I was about 12 years old, I would say, I was walking along with my best friend, and we were at that age where we were getting a little bit like, ooh, we'd quite like to, we were trying to be grown up and we were trying to act older, and we were like, oh, we'd really like to try a cigarette. And neither of our parents smoked, so most people would just kind of nick one from their family or whatever. But neither of us could do that. And we were just walking along quite a main road, and I just said out loud, with a lot of kind of conviction, I suppose, oh, wouldn't it be so cool if we just walked along and found like a packet of cigarettes, just there on the floor, and then we could go and try it. And I just said it, and then we just carried on chatting, didn't think about it again, just kind of let it go, put it out there, let it go. And literally within 5 minutes, there was just an unopened packet of 20 cigarettes on the floor right in front of us, like just slightly to the side, and it was really like magic. And I remember saying at the time, like, that's so weird, like, how is that possible, because it just seemed like it was too much of a coincidence, it was so specific. So yeah, I think when you don't really fully know what you're doing, weirdly, sometimes perhaps it can work quite quickly and more powerfully. I suppose it's what they would call beginner's luck, because you might just kind of do it right without even, kind of, it's like a fluke, I suppose, without any expectation or any blockages. Because I think that's the problem. Once you start thinking it's going to work, you've kind of got this thing blocking it then, because you're kind of waiting. And when you're waiting, I think that's what often blocks it from happening. So someone explained it to me it's a bit like in a restaurant. When you go to a restaurant and you look at the menu and you say what you want to the waitress or whatever, and then you carry on chatting, and your food will usually just come. And weirdly, I think if you're in a rush, like I've had it before, and you're like sat there thinking, oh, please come, oh, come on, and you're looking at the food every time it comes out, oh, is that mine? Is that mine? It always seems to take a lot longer. Whereas I think if you just not even in a rush, you're not bothered, then it's much more likely to come quickly. And you're like, oh, well, that was fast. You hadn't even thought about it. So yeah, I think that's quite a good example, really, of, you kind of just, you say it, you're confident it'll come, and then it does, unless you're very unlucky. And that's another thing. So luck as well, I'd say, is a type of manifestation. So it's belief. So people who believe they're lucky and that they're confident, and they believe they're going to succeed in whatever they do, they're much more likely to, aren't they? So you could call that confidence, you could call it belief. But yeah, the problem is that some people are the opposite. So manifestation does work both ways. So if you go around saying, oh God, everything bad happens to me, I'm so unlucky, then it's much more likely that you will be. And especially if you actually catastrophize in your mind, like some people will really visualize, oh my God, imagine if this happens, and they imagine it and how awful it'll feel and how awful it'll be. Well, that's using all the manifestation techniques against yourself. So that's what people really need to be aware of. So you're better off, just not thinking about bad things, really, because as soon as you start thinking of them and visualizing them, you are putting them out there into the universe, and the universe can't differentiate actually between what you're wishing will happen and what you're wishing won't happen. And a good example of this is I had a friend a few years ago, and she said it was a funny story because she just started to learn about manifestation herself, but she didn't really think about what she was doing. And her dad said he would buy her a car, which is like, wow, that's so generous, but not a new car, like a second-hand car. So he was like on the lookout. And she was saying, oh, I don't mind, Dad, what car it is, as long as it's not a red car. So she just kept saying this to him. And she just kept saying, oh, any make and model, I'm not that fussy, but I don't want a red car. Well, all the universe is hearing is red car, red car, red car. And then he rang her up and said, oh, you'll never guess what, I found this amazing deal on this great car. The only problem is it's a red car. So she actually ended up with this car that was red. So yeah, that's funny. And she laughed about it because she realized her mistake, because she just kept kind of saying it and picturing it and focusing on it, and you basically get more of what you focus on. So whatever you're focusing on, be it good or bad, you're probably going to get more of the same. So I think that's why, like, maybe when people look back on their life, they think, oh wow, that was such a great period because all those good things happened to me. And it's like it can all fall into place because it's also about vibration. So, and when good things start to happen, you get into a better vibration, a higher vibration, and you're thinking more good thoughts, and then it can carry on that all these good things happen. So yeah, and the same thing can happen in reverse. And that's another thing. Visualization is very powerful. I think all athletes know this. A lot of athletes and all sorts of professions like that, probably CEOs, people at the top of the game, they understand the power of visualization, and that a lot of it is about the subconscious and what's going on in the subconscious. So the best way to get through to the subconscious is meant to be at night or first thing in the morning. So around that period, when you're kind of drifting off or just waking up and you're kind of in that slightly sleepy kind of zone. So that's an important time to do like affirmations or try and visualize what you would like to happen or what we would like to have. So also the wording, the power of now. So you have to say things like, I am healthy now. I am wealthy now. I am capable now. I am confident now. But it's not really enough just to say the words. The other thing that's really, really key is to really mean it and really feel it, like from the heart, really have the real conviction and feeling behind it. So otherwise they're just empty words. So I think that's where a lot of people go wrong. People are like, well, I'm saying these things every day, but you have to really do it with passion and belief and meaning, which is a lot easier said than done for many people. So yeah, that's another thing. Another little example I want to say is like in Mary Poppins, actually, there's lots of clues in films about things like this. And if you think about Mary Poppins, when the children, they write a letter of what they would like, don't they? And what they would like in a nanny. And the father, without knowing what he's doing, he reads it out loud and then rips it up, burns it in the fire. Now, he doesn't obviously really want that kind of nanny, but because he speaks it out loud to the universe and then burns it and lets go and forgets about it, that is in fact a very good way of kind of, doing a spell almost. He basically does a spell without knowing he's doing a spell. And I suppose because there's conviction behind it from the children as well, and they've imagined and visualized what they want and done it with real kind of from the heart, that also carries a lot of weight and it's putting it out there. So I think the combination of those things kind of shows you that then that is, she appears, doesn't she, like magic. So yeah, there is a lot of truth in some of these films. And Hollywood itself, with the wand, and the wand's made of holly, and that's kind of a quite ancient magical thing. And I suppose wands are all about focus, so that's just a tool really to focus your mind and your feelings and your visualization. So I don't think the magic's necessarily in the wand, it's just a tool to help you to focus. So you could do it with anything, even with a candle, say. So the power of prayer, there is definitely something in that. I believe the power of prayer does work in a lot of cases, and especially the more faith people have, the more likely it is to work. And people do things like light a candle, don't they? And they will focus on that candle while they're praying, and it's having your attention on something for long enough as well. So rather than your brain darting from one thing to another, if you can keep the focus for at least 30 seconds or a few minutes, or as long as you possibly can, the longer you can keep your focus on it, the more likely it is to come true. So yeah, I do think there's a lot of successful religious people, and that's not just coincidence. I think that's all to do with the power of their faith and their belief. And if you believe there is a higher power helping you, then whether they're helping you or not, I think it's much more likely to come true. So yeah, I mean, whether there's a God or not is a whole different debate. But you could say it's God, you could say it's the universe, you could say it's whatever manifestation, but there is definitely something in it. And I think, why not try it? If you're someone that's always wondered about it, then just give it a try. And also I would advise to try with small things. Actually, weirdly, it seems to work better with things you're not that bothered about. So that's a bit annoying, but that's just how it is, because if it's something you're not really that bothered about, you don't have as many blockages. So if it's something that you almost want to happen so much, it's difficult, because you're probably blocking it without knowing you're blocking it, because you're not letting it go, and you're not kind of allowing it to happen. You're not in the right vibration. So yeah. So that's my little take on manifestation and the magical powers that it can have.